my friends and loved ones. Welcome this afternoon to People Touching People Forum. It's a joy to come to you. And also with me today is my co-host, Miss Donna Thomas. Miss Thomas, welcome. Thank you. And of course, our returning guest speaker, our guest, Miss Nadine Pusey. Welcome.
Thank you.
Ladies, it's indeed a joy to sit around the round table tonight or this afternoon. We'll be discussing a very provoking topic. And of course, the topic, discussion tonight will be living successfully on the edge. Very provoking, very thought inspiring. I'm sure it's going to be very helpful to all our guests and loved ones that are watching. And so, ladies, let's get right into the discussion tonight. The question is, what does living on the edge really means? Let's begin then with the big question. What does it mean to live on the edge successfully? Miss Thomas, I'll ask you the first question.
Okay.
Can you address, please?
Absolutely. So living on the edge means different things to different people.
Yes.
But at its core, it's a place where opposites meet, where fear meets courage, where suffering meets freedom.
Wow.
So that's like stepping out of the box.
All right. Going to be very provoking tonight. Miss Pusey, what do you have to say about that?
So exactly, similar to what she says, I would
Yes.
say it's not, and also it's not just about thrill seeking or extreme risks. It's about embracing uncertainty.
Come on.
It's living between joy and disappointment, between faith and doubt, success and failure.
Wow. That sounds, ladies, like a very uncomfortable space. Let's see if we can dive further into it, get further deeper into this. What would you say, Miss Pusey?
So indeed, it can be an uncomfortable space, but it's also where growth happens. Living on the edge means walking a fine line between passion and what might feel like insanity.
Yes.
It is intense at times, but deeply meaningful.
Wow. Miss Thomas.
So it can be intentional.
Wow.
It's doing what you love.
All right.
Chasing your dreams, even into dark, uncertain places, without losing sight of them. So in other words, it's something that you have to be passionate about.
Wow. It's not something. Well, let's talk about the emotional side, because there is an emotional side to it. How does it feel? What does it feel like to be living on the edge? Let's get further into this topic. Let's talk about the emotional aspect of it.
Yes. So it can be a blend of fear and excitement.
Wow, okay.
You're scared because life is unpredictable, of course.
All right.
You all know that. But you're energized by the possibilities or by the outcomes, right?
That sounds good. You're doing good. But also, it sounds very exhausting.
Yes, it can be, absolutely. You may end up feeling drained or fulfilled because you're doing what you love, what you're passionate about. And there's a peace that comes from knowing that they're actually living, not just existing. And that's important.
Oh, I like that.
Because a lot of us,
I like that.
we're only living. We're just going through the motions, you know.
Wow.
You get up, you go to work, you come home, and you repeat the cycle.
Wow.
You're not living, you're not experiencing, you're not having any joy.
Oh.
So when you live on the edge, this is something that you look forward to. It gives you that drive, right?
Oh, dear.
It's something that you want to do. So you don't even have to force yourself to do it because it's something that you want to do.
Come on. So you're saying there's a difference between living and existing.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Well, we're going to get further into that. Miss Nadine, what do you have to say about that one?
So living on the edge also means feeling deeply. So it is something, as you mentioned, something that you're passionate about. You feel deeply about it. It's engaging fully in what it is that you're in, that the activity that you choose to engage in. And yes, it's also having fun along the way.
Having fun. So it's not about comfort. It's about aliveness.
Yes.
To be alive, to have fun, to enjoy what you're doing.
Yes.
Wow, that sounds good. I think we are on something powerful tonight, and we're going to be able to help our friends and loved ones. Let's go further. Let's talk about action and inaction. Again, we're talking about some folks, you can't stop them. They're very active. They get into things. They make things happen. Others become, they give up. They're emotional, but there's nothing beyond that. So let's go further. A lot of people talks about wanted this kind of life, right? Talkers. but never stepped into it. I would say a lot of people are dreamers. They talk about the things that they would like to do, the things that they would like to achieve, but they never really do anything about it. It's all talking. All right, so go further, Miss Donna. Can you address that?
Yes. Because in order to do this, to live on the edge, real action is required.
Come on.
This is an important step, right? You have to be able to do.
All right.
Not just say,
All right.
but to do.
All right.
So living on the edge isn't working hard for a paycheck, and it's not chilling. It's a different kind of action. It's exciting, meaningful, life changing.
Come on.
So when you get that drive to go, it makes you feel you have all these different emotions, but not of fear.
Come on. All right.
It's of excitement.
All right.
Because I'm stepping out into the unknown.
Come
so
on.
you're not worried about the unknown now, because you're willing to face it head on.
Wow.
So this is what living on the edge.
On the edge.
You're not even worried. I am stepping out.
Wow.
And whatever the outcome is, I'm willing to face it.
You're willing to face it. Awesome. That's something. How do we stand then between suffering and freedom without feeling falling apart? There's a difference. Now we're talking about the emotion side of things. We're talking about being optimistic versus being pessimistic. So what do you say about that?
And of course, when you're doing these things, it requires three things.
Tell us.
Faith, confidence,
all right,
and self-control.
Repeat that again. That's powerful. What do you have to say? Wow.
Confidence and self-control. Wow. And these are very important.
How about you, Ms. Pusey? What do you have to say about that?
So the standing between suffering and freedom, as you mentioned, that can be tough. Because every day we face disappointment and challenges are coming there. And as you mentioned, there's fear and there's doubt.
Very good.
But those experiences don't disqualify us. They in fact shape us. So these are things that we should embrace and not be afraid of them.
I love
because
that.
they in fact will help to shape us.
So what I'm hearing, ladies, you're basically saying that living on the edge, we have to agree on that one, does not eliminate struggles, because all of us will face struggles at times in our lives, right? But what it does, it's about navigating. Are you there? Like some folks, they reach a mountain, there's a huge mountain that is in front of them, and that's where they stop. They can't cross over the mountain. There's no way they're going to cross, so they just give up. But there's a way of going around the mountain. You see, that's a mindset, perception. So you're basically saying then, we will face mountains, we'll face struggles. Are you there? All of us do. But how do we get around? How do we get through? You see, it's a mindset, isn't it? All right, Miss Nadine, what do you have to say about that one?
I agree with you 100% with that.
Yes.
Life, as is mentioned, is both peril and possibility.
Oh, yes.
And the mindset is very important. And oftentimes, there is change at the same time.
Wow.
So we just have to press through it.
Wow. What do you say, Miss Donna? That sounds good?
Absolutely.
All right, so we're getting there. And I'm sure our friends are enjoying it. We'll get deeper. So let's talk about what's the first step. Let's talk about the step. Okay, so we know there's struggles. We know there are mountains. We know there are valleys to cross. There are rivers to cross. We see the impossibilities in front of us. We know that. How do we get over that? How do we cross over? How do we tunnel through, get around? We're still talking about living on the edge.
Yes.
Are you there? And so there's different steps that we go through, we have to take. And what is the first step would you propose, Ms. Thomas? Nadine. Let's talk about the first step to address
we have to accept
issues.
change and accept that change is uncomfortable.
Wow.
It disrupts our routine and change our comfort zone. We have to come out of our comfort zone and accept change. As I think one writer said, that the only change is change. So you have to learn to accept it, and it is necessary.
Okay, so let's paraphrase this, Donna. You're saying the first step, when we are faced with situations, mountains that are unmovable, the first step you're saying to us that we have to recognize and we have to accept, right, that there is an issue. Am I right? That's the first step of change. All right. Ms. Thomas, what do you say? Let's go to step number 2.
So step number 2, beginning. Just begin. Just start. There's an old saying, once begun is half done.
Wow, I love that. Can you repeat that again?
So
Once.
because you have to start somewhere, right? So you want to live on the edge. You have to go, as I say.
Yeah.
You have to start.
Come on.
It doesn't make sense you sit and say, oh, I want to do this,
Mhm.
and I might do it tomorrow,
All
or
right.
I might do it next year, or I might make it my New Year's resolution.
Wow.
And we did talk about New Year's
Wow.
resolutions and what happens with them. So it's just for you to get up and start. But people who usually live on the edge, they have no hesitation
Come
in
on.
starting.
All right. Because of who they are.
Because
All
of
right,
who they
all
are.
right. So I love the statement you just made. Let's pause for a second. Once begun, are you there? You just said it. Is half done.
Yep.
What do you think about that? Once begun is half done. Man, that's worth $1 million right there.
You have to start the first step.
Wow.
Take the first step.
So
there's another writer who says, feel the fear and do it anyways.
All right, there you go.
Keep
There you
going.
go.
Gotta start.
So there have to be an initial start, initial step.
Yes.
So you have to be willing to step out, to take that initial step.
Yes.
And then you're on your way, right?
Yes.
That's very good. Again, Miss Donna, continue, please.
So there's also step 3.
Come on.
Listen. Seek advice from wise, experienced people. And of course, this is important. Stay teachable.
Wow. Wow.
This is so important because a lot of times we want to do things our own way, of our own strength.
All right.
But there's usually a right way and a wrong way.
Come on.
So if you're willing to listen, listen to what somebody is saying, they're teaching you the different steps. Because let's say you have something on your bucket. Let's say you want to climb a mountain like Mount Everest, right? There are persons who have climbed it who have the knowledge and the experience. So connecting with them, you'll gain knowledge and how. Because remember, we are living on the edge. This is something that I want to do. This is something that I have to do. So you want to make sure that you seek advice from people who are experienced, who have knowledge about it. So you have to remain teachable and trainable.
I love that. I love that.
I just want to add to
You
that.
go ahead, please.
There are many persons who have thought for a while, they've planned, they've made their goals, a vision board. They want to start something, a business, a project. Some persons are employed and they're thinking they can step out now and do it. But usually there's analysis paralysis, where persons are looking at everything, every possible outcome, trying to see the end before they start. And I think this is a good reminder for us that we should just step out there and start.
That's right.
Because the knowledge will come, the information will come. You will reach out to people. And once you're in the field or in the industry and you start doing your research, you'll find that there are persons around that you can connect with, persons who have started, have been there before you. So just start. As you say, once begun is half done.
It's half done.
So I'd encourage everyone to step out and start.
And you know, there's a wise saying that if you want to be wise, you walk with wise men. You know, there's always someone else that knows a little more than us. And again, you have heard me say it many times about the eagles and the chickens. And it's choice, isn't it? We must always try to connect with someone that knows a little more than us. And oftentimes, my mom, she was a wise lady. She has shared a lot of insight. It was wisdom, word of wisdom. And one of the things I remembered my mom always said to us when I was in high school, don't always hang out with people that have the same knowledge and the same skills and the same ability. Like you said, you'll never learn. Always seek others that know a little more than you.
Exactly.
And the other thing too, which I've embraced that over in my life, I don't know about you ladies, I always like to connect with older people than myself. Somehow I was never the guy to connect with just guys of my age, because we are talking the same thing. Nobody's going anywhere that. But the older people that I've found in my life, they're well experienced. And there's so much I can learn from them.
A lot of wisdom.
So wisdom, that is it. So it's very good. Then let's talk about action then. So now we know, ladies, that you just shared that we must maintain a teachable spirit. We must try to connect with people that know a little more than us, that are wiser than us. All right, but it comes down to our action. We have all the theory, but what are we going to do about it? So, Miss Donna, take us there.
So step 4 is taking action
Come on.
and being willing to adjust along the way.
All right.
And then we go to step 5, the hardest step
Mhm.
is embracing the new reality.
Come on.
And refusing to go back to old habits.
Oh, let's
Which
come
can
on now.
be difficult, right?
Come on now.
Especially if you're trying something new and it becomes very challenging.
Yes.
You want to go back to what you're accustomed to what you're familiar with.
Yes.
Right? So that's why step 5 is the hardest because you've done and you see, well, there's so many problems coming up along the way.
Right.
Why don't I go back to what I'm accustomed to? I didn't have these problems.
Yes.
So this is the hardest step.
I was called in some time ago by a mother. Her daughter was in college, and there was a subject that she was really struggling with. Really struggling. She could not pass that subject. And of course, she brought home the frustration at home. And then mom got frustrated, and of course, it's like the young lady wanted to drop out of college. And there was not much encouragement from mom because mom was frustrated because the daughter was failing in that. And they called me. And I went to the home, I remembered, and I sat down with them. I said, I asked mom, I said, leave her with me, just leave us. And we sat down and I talked about the subject, and she's crying, she's frustrated. I said, no, this is what we're going to do. I said, for this semester, forget about that subject. Leave that subject alone. We're going to replace that subject with another subject that you love. Are you there? Take that other subject. And after you pass that subject, let's talk about the previous one. Do you know that she passed the subject? And by then, her passing that subject, she went back. The confidence was built. Are you with me? And she passed that subject. She finished college. She went on to university. You see, it's all about the mindset and how we approach. Some people just give up when they hit a break along the way. And they just want to walk away. No, that's not the time. There must be another way. If you can't go through the mountain, we're going to find a way to get around the mountain. Do you agree, ladies?
Agree.
All right. So why do people get stuck? This is reality. Why do so many people get to the stage and they just get stuck and they give up? They walk away from challenges. Miss Donna.
Because as I just said earlier, familiarity
Oh.
is safer than change.
Wow. Okay.
Even misery can feel comfortable if it's predictable.
Right. Oh, well, I need to challenge you. I'm looking at myself. So you're saying it's easier, Miss Thomas, and please help me, to just relax when things are not going well and just accept the norm?
Because this is what you're used to. Being comfortable in that state, in that frame of mind, you're familiar with that. You know what the outcome is going to be.
Wow.
So you prefer to stay miserable in that setting because this is what you're used to.
Wow. I think we're speaking to some folks here.
Yeah.
The world is listening. So you're basically, it's a challenge you're giving us now. You're giving us a challenge that we don't have to stay there.
Because we all fear the unknown.
Yeah.
Oh.
We don't know what's going to happen, what's going to be the outcome. In my situation that I was in before, I can tell you exactly what's going to happen.
Right.
So I'm comfortable there.
There you go.
But
there you go.
The persons who live on the edge, what do you think they want to do? Do you think they fear that?
No.
They're stepping out.
Of course. Of course. But then why is it so? I've heard people sometimes talk so negative. Like today, it's a beautiful day, but I won't be in church Sunday because I know I'm going to be sick. I won't be in church Sunday because I know it's going to rain. But what if it doesn't? Have you ever thought about that? What if there's no rain, there's no snow? But the mindset, we are so prone to always thinking negative. But what about the positive side? Again, you said living on the edge are people like that who are always positive. It doesn't matter how things confront them, they always see the positives out of every negatives. Miss Pusey.
Well, again, people stay stuck because they fear the unknown, as you've mentioned. They're afraid. They already know their situation. They know that I'm in this job. I'm going to get a salary. I'm going to get paid every 2 weeks.
Okay.
So that is predictable. I can plan for that. But with the unknown, stepping out into a new business, you're not sure. Am I going to make it? What's going to happen if nobody supports my business? How will I pay my bills. So all of those can create real fear for persons. And so they stay stuck, they stay in the position. Because until they're able to see the outcome or understand what the outcome will be, they're afraid to step out. But I think as when the tough comes, the tough gets going. Right? So I think they should step out and do it. Yeah, as I say, feel the fear and do it anyways.
That's a sobering thought. And I guess we are all sitting here, we all have our own personal experience, and the audience, I'm sure there are folks there saying, yes, I can relate to that. All of us have had challenges in our lives. And Ms. Thomas, maybe later on I'll ask for personal testimony. We might have one, we might not have. About 2 months ago, for whatever reason, this company's university college, they kept sending me information. They want me to do the extra course and, all the fringe benefits goes with it. And I thought, no, at this stage in my life, I'm too busy. I don't want, but this thing just kept coming to me. The thing is, they did not stop. They kept sending stuff to me. And I decided one day, and, it's all on the internet, etc. I said, sure. I inquire a little more, but only to find out it's Monday to Thursday. I have to be on the computer from 9 to 2. I thought, wow, no, that's not going to work because I have my busy schedule. But there's just something about this. Miss Thomas, I didn't need to do it because I have my degrees, but I took the challenge. Can you believe I took the challenge? I took the challenge. And Jen keeps asking me, what are you doing? Why do you want to do this? So I took the challenge. And I thought, wow, it's okay, it's easy. It's on the internet, which I don't like computer, you guys know. But you know what? I took the challenge because I said, you know what, hey, I'm going to do it. It's knowledge. And I stepped in. And wow, it was doing good. I was doing good. And the first exam came. I didn't know it was 3 hours exam on the computer. And I thought, oh, I was ready to walk away. But there was something about, as you said, living on the edge. There's just something about us. We don't walk away from challenge. And I sat, even though I didn't like the computer, I passed the first exam. Makes me feel good. Another exam came. And I thought, wow, this is getting a bit too frequent. At nights, I'm up 2-3 hours in the night studying. Then another exam, and I passed them. And tomorrow, by the way, is another exam. So when I leave here, I'm going home to study. But this exam is going to be longer than the previous one. This is 17 chapters. And what do you think, Mr. Thomas? Do you think I'm going to walk away? I come too far. I'm one of those guys living on the edge like yourselves.
You're already invested, so you better see it through.
So there's just something about us, people that lives on the edge. We just love challenges. We don't walk around challenges. Am I right, guys? All right, so let's go further. It's getting better. All right, so let's redefine the edge. Because a lot of folks are saying, what are they talking about?
Yeah.
Some folks talking about living on the edge. To them, it's all negative. Like, you're going to crash, you're going to fall off, things going to... No, you're committing suicide. No, none of that stuff. So what does living on the edge really means, Ms. Thomas?
Yeah. It can mean intense adventure, radical freedom,
come on,
constant risk, or simply stepping out of your comfort zone.
Okay. Did you hear that? I love that.
Yeah.
Or simple
Just
stepping
out of your comfort zone.
You see the difference?
Yeah.
By living on the edge? Is that you have been living in this comfort zone for so long, you just want change.
That's right.
You just decide it's time for change. Right. Miss Pusey, what do you have to say? Let's talk about some examples.
I think someone who turns their fear into faith.
Oh, okay.
That's a good one.
Okay.
Who steps into unfamiliar territories when others retreat. Wow. It's also a person who becomes a teacher of possibility.
Wow.
And I think you're a great example of that.
Wow. I love that. Stepping out of your comfort zone. And every one of us have a different comfort zone, doesn't it? Some people just like to sit home and watch television after work. A lot of guys get home, they just want a beer, sit around television and watch hockey. And that's their comfort zone. But some of us, we just have, it's like, I would say there's always a new challenge. There's always a new venture. There's always more that we can achieve. And that's that example. All right. Ms. Thomas, anything else on that matter?
living on the edge impacts not just your life, but the lives of those watching you or those around you, your families.
Wow.
It impacts your families
Wow.
too.
Indeed, it does.
Yeah. So, as I often say, the decisions that you make not only affects you, it affects everyone around you.
Wow.
So you stepping out of your comfort zone because your family members are accustomed you to live in a particular lifestyle and now you want to change. It's gonna affect them too, depending on your role in the family, of course.
Yes.
Right?
You know, I must say, and I'm sure you all have your own experience with your family, and I give God thanks. I am within my family, all of them. There seems to be, I seem to be the mentor. I seem to be the lighthouse, and they all seem to gravitate to me. But you know, it's also a cost that they might not understand the cost that you have to pay. But then it becomes beneficial to all of them too. Just to admire you, and you set the pace for them, and as you said, not just affect your life, but it affects all around you because they're focusing on you. It's not something.
And just to add, Dr. Lee, it's not just your family. There are other persons around you that you interact with.
That is true.
That you do.
That is true.
You encourage, and you're a mentor to many of us. So
you know,
thank you for that
on
behalf of everybody else.
And all of us have our own sphere of influence, doesn't it? You know, my friend, my brother, you know, his sphere of influence is within his field of influence out there, and people that he touch, I might not be able to reach them, but what a difference. All of us, like you're a social worker, you're in the government, top-notch job up there. I am I'm a counselor, you know, but we all have people that we influence.
Yes.
Are you there? And that's the difference here by living on the edge. Amen. We are visionaries. We see, we hear, we make change, we bring change and effect into people's lives. Am I right? So let's talk about further. Can living on the edge be sustainable?
And I would say
Excuse me?
yes.
Yes.
Resounding yes.
Yes.
If you are prepared, you have clear values and healthy boundaries. Those without, it becomes chaotic and chaos instead of growth.
Wow.
So indeed, it can be sustainable
Wow.
if you're prepared.
What do you say, Ms. Thomas?
Absolutely. As Nadine said, you have to be prepared.
All right.
Yeah.
You have to be prepared. Yes. So it's not just a one-day thing. It can be a continuous lifestyle. Are you there? And you'll never settle for the norm. There's always room for growth. There's always more to achieve. Are you there? And so, as we're studying, preparing ourselves for this lesson, I read a story in the Bible. Miss Thomas, you know the Bible quite well, but I read a story, and I want us to look at live example. Let's talk about a man while living on the edge, turn his fear into faith. Are you there? And we're going to talk about this man for a minute or two. Somebody need to be encouraged today. He turned his impossibilities into possibilities. This man I'm about to talk about. He turned his familiar ground into unfamiliar ground. Are you with me, ladies? He turned his fear into faith and courage. His lack of self-confidence into confidence. He walked where other men failed to walk. Are you there? He saw things that other men failed to see. He separated himself from those of faint heart. This man we're about to talk about, yeah? He became a teacher of possibilities to those who are still students to be taught. He got his own testimony, yes, that others had to draw from. And this man, Miss Thomas, is none other than one of the disciples of Jesus. And I'm going to ask you, please, to read a story, very short story about this man that lived on the edge.
We're reading from St. Matthew 14:22-36. And straightway Jesus constrained his disciples to get into a ship and to go before him onto the other side while he sent the multitudes away. And when he had sent the multitudes away, he went up into a mountain apart to pray.
Yeah.
And when the evening was come, he was there alone. But the ship was now in the midst of the sea, tossed with waves, for the wind was contrary. And in the fourth watch of the night, Jesus went unto them walking on the sea. And when the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were troubled, saying, It is a spirit.
Wow.
And they cried out for fear. But straightway Jesus spake unto them, saying, Be of good cheer, it is I, be not afraid. And Peter answered him and said, Lord, if it be thou, bid me come unto thee on the water.
Wow.
And he said, Come. And when Peter was come down out of the ship, he walked on the water to go to Jesus.
Yes, yes.
But when he saw the wind boisterous, he was afraid, and beginning to sink, he cried, saying, Lord, save me. And immediately Jesus stretched forth his hand and caught him, and said unto him, O thou of little faith, wherefore didst thou doubt? And when they were coming to the ship, the wind ceased. Then that they that were in the ship came and worshipped him, saying,
Wow.
Of a truth, thou art the Son of God. And when they were gone over, they came into the land of Gennesaret. And when the men of that place had knowledge of him, they sent out into all that country round about him, and brought unto him all that were diseased, and besought him that they might only touch the hem of his garment.
All right.
As many as touched were made perfect.
Let us stop for a moment. This is a very powerful story about a man that lived on the edge. Yeah? We're not going to be preaching. I know you love to preach, but we're not going to preach. We're just going to look at an example. So what we're hearing about this story, Miss Thomas, Miss Pusey, is that there were 12 disciples. So while they were in the boat, as we just discussed, the waves and the wind rose and the boats were rocking, and the disciples, they became afraid because they thought the boat was going to sink, you know. And so they began to cry out. And to make matters worse, they saw someone walking on the water. Can you imagine? In that predicament. And so Peter cried out and wanted to know who this person was. He recognized it was Jesus. Jesus recognized himself. So, Master, if it's you, bid me to come unto you. Now remember, they're all 12. Comfort zone, everything was going good. But one decided, I want change. I want to experience more than what I'm involved in. And he heard the master says, come. Now you see, this is the difference now. There are 12 of them. And what do? The one that really lived on the edge, we agree, is Peter. He wanted to experience more than what he's presently experiencing. And he heard the word come. And Peter stepped out. Remember, the waves and everything were just going crazy. He stepped out in the water. What do you think the other 11 were thinking? I think they were thinking, you're crazy. And they were holding on for dear life because that's what they were used to.
Yeah.
And they refused to release what they're used to the unknown. But guess what? You know the story, you know the Bible well. He began to walk. Peter began to, what an experience.
Yes.
But while he was walking out there too, he had his own experience.
Yes.
Right? Things were happening, and he took his eyes off the master, and what happened began to sink.
Yeah.
Right there. Yeah.
Now, here's one for you ladies, and help me. He could have said, I give up. Because he's going on and now, you know. There's sharks, there's whales, barracudas ready to devour him there. He could have said, I give up. But what did Peter say? He didn't. You know what he did, ladies? He cried out for help. You see, you talk about having a teachable spirit.
Yes.
And the fact that he cried out, the master reached out and got a hold of him because he cried out for help. Right. And so what are we telling our friends? That even you find yourself in desperate situation, what you're going through, I mean, you don't have to keep it to yourself. You can reach out to others who can help you. And he was restored. But when he came back in the boat, the other 11 that stayed there in a comfort zone, they also acknowledged that Jesus was the Son of God because of his testimony. So again, beautiful story here, just to show us that Peter, went places that the others failed. He saw things that the others failed. He experienced things that the others failed to experience. He had a testimony that they did not have. But out of his personal experience, his testimony, their lives also were changed. And that's what it's all about, wasn't it? Wonderful story. All right, so Miss Pusey, what do you have to say about that?
So, a riveting discussion as usual. Very, very interesting discussion.
Of course.
And so, if I were to just leave a few words
Please
with
do.
our audience,
Yes.
living on the edge isn't about chasing danger.
Wow.
It is about growth, over comfort, purpose over routine, and
Yes.
courage over fear, as you've mentioned.
Yes.
It is about recognizing that the most meaningful moments in life often exist in that uncertain space where we're stretched, challenged, and transformed.
Wow.
And remember this: don't wait until everything feels safe and perfect. Step forward anyway, feel the fear and do it anyway.
Come on.
And that's where life truly begins.
Well, this is powerful. Miss Thomas, I think this is a powerful thought. And every time we sit around table and do another program, another subject podcast, it's just I enjoy myself. And others, the last one we did, I got response from people all over the world, telling us how much they appreciate what we are doing. So it's not a waste. This is educational, isn't it? And this is provoking. This is inspiring for our friends and loved ones. And so that's a powerful space to end as we come to the end of this session. Are you there? I want to take a moment to thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being a part of this great program. But Miss Thomas, as usual, I always ask you, because you always have the last word. Please, you go ahead. What would you like to say to the audience?
First of all, I want to say thank you so much for joining us. We're getting your feedback. We know that you're absolutely enjoying the program. So I'd like to say thank you so much for that. And of course, we're inviting you to like the video.
Come on.
And share it with your families and friends. Right? And also would like to hear from you. Send us some ideas, some suggestions. And of course, we'll research the topic and give you another lively discussion.
Yeah.
So of course, you can find us on Spotify, YouTube, or Apple Podcasts. So thank you so much for joining us and have a blessed day.
Wow. Miss Pusey, it's a joy always to have you. And Miss Thomas, it's always a joy to work with you ladies. Very, very intelligent ladies, very well taught, women of wisdom. And I consider myself grateful to be sitting with you all. So let me also take a moment to thank our audience too, and to let them know, remind them that we have a ministry that is backing us as People Touching People, or the ministry that's supporting this ministry is Victory World Impact Ministries. And the telephone number is 416-282-1101 in Toronto. If you're in the Toronto area, you're in the Brampton area, Durham area, Markham area, if you're close by the church, please come and have fellowship with us. Our regular service on Sunday is 12 noon. On Sunday night is 7 p.m. On Wednesday night is Bible studies at 7:30. And then we have the Young at Heart ministry, which is elderly couples, well, older folks. Tuesdays from 12 to 2:30, they have a luncheon, beautiful. And also Friday evening now, we have the College and Career, which is Young People's Ministry, from 7:30. Please come on out and join us. Amen. We are a prophetic ministry. We are a multicultural church. And we're doing so much locally and overseas. And it's a joy to have you. Thank you very much for joining us with this beautiful program. There's another one coming up next week. And it's going to be also provoking, very thought-provoking, challenging. As Ms. Thomas says, if you have a subject matter that you'd like us to discuss, please forward it to us. Let us do a research, study on it, and then we'll present it. God bless you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Have a wonderful day in Jesus' name.